Really now. We should be able to cook here.
Have you guys checked your equipment lately?
Aw, who's a good boy? Wait, why am I petting you?
Done. This is sure to give the others some much-needed energy.
Kisara, let's talk for a bit. Maintaining your shield? It's becoming a familiar sight.
Miguel was the one who taught me how to maintain my equipment after I first joined the Guard. Now it's just a part of my routine.
Your brother always seems to come up whenever I talk to you.
That's because we had no other relatives, so it was just the two of us growing up. He was my idol, the one I looked up to and wanted to be like. When I became a guardsman, Lagiel wasn't too pleased to see me at first. It was Miguel who really welcomed me aboard.
Lagiel? Oh, right. She was Miguel's second in the Gold Dust Cats, wasn't she?
That's right. She's always been a very critical and down-to-earth person. In other words, the complete opposite of a dreamer like me.
You're more an idealist than some pie-in-the-sky dreamer.
Even so, that's my brother's doing. He'd never let me stop seeing a brighter world. He always did what he could to keep me smiling and happy.
You must have meant a lot to him.
He wasn't just kind either. He always worked so hard to set an example for me and everyone else around him. He was a true big brother. So much so that when he thought I was asleep, he'd slip out of the house to go training on the outskirts of town.
You seem to know a lot about it.
That's because I only pretended to be asleep and would follow after him. You know what? I'm at a good stopping point with my shield. If you've got time, how about I tell you a couple more Miguel stories?
I guess I'd better get comfortable.
I'll take watch tonight. It's okay. Before we go, do you guys have everything?
We finally made it.
I think Hoodle senses something.
I wonder what we'll find out there this time.
Most likely Zoogles, I would rec. reckon.
I mean, other than them?
Huh? I think someone's calling out for it.
Hmm? Right.
Excuse me! Well... Really?
Good.
What the? Seriously?
All right.
I think Hoodle senses something.
Mahag Sar. That makes 4 out of the 5 realms that I've visited now.
I wonder what kind of...
Let's dispose of the trash.
I never miss! Perfect move!
Here I come! Be still!
On guard.
If they rush you, you gotta jump for cover, okay?
Rising Falcon!
I'm ready!
Kisara! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
Did it!
Yeah! Nice technique!
It's over!
This one's mine!
Negative gate!
Wow! Look what I just found. That's far enough!
You're mine! Dazzle!
Going in!
Rise and speed!
Tiger
Come and face me!
Can you take it?
All mine!
I'll take out the leg with my shield! Make it rain!
Reload! Light burst forth!
Radiant Genesis! Take it!
Now! You're mine! Hurricane
This one's
Thrust!
mine!
Tear!
Do
Hurricane
it!
Thrust! Great! What's this thing?
Hoo hoo hoo.
Hoo! Hoo hoo hoo! Look, Hoodle! One of your buddies!
I won't forgive you!
Here!
Nothing gets by me! One more!
Explosive ring!
Stay calm. I shall provide assistance.
This one's mine!
I'm ready!
Blow them away! Not a chance!
This one's
I'm not-
mine! Denied!
Be still! Impressive, Dohaline.
Float like a butterfly.
Frozen.
Hammer!
Our superiority was undeniable.
It feels invigorating to dominate a battle.
I was certain I saw you yawn.
Come now, I'm certainly not that relaxed.
A fish! You saw...
I didn't realize there was a pond here.
Yeah, this is Taka Pond. And it happened to have saved my life once upon a time.
What do you mean?
As a kid, I survived life under the past lords by escaping here when I needed to. It's terrible to swim in, but great for catching a bite for dinner away from Renan eyes.
Bear in mind, our rations back then weren't enough to live off of. You had to take matters into your own hands if you wanted enough food to survive.
But how did you catch them? With your bare hands?
That might take a while. Fish are prone to swim away at the first sign of trouble.
I'd put bait or a lure on a line and use it with a fishing rod.
You must not be familiar with fishing if this sounds new to you. Here, let me show you how it's done. Where should I cast my line? Okay, change of plans. There we go. That was disappointing. Yeah. Oh. Good fishers always keep their cool. There we go. Well, that wasn't much of a challenge.
You sure know what you're doing.
And that's all there is to it.
Wow. It seems like you need to have good reflexes to catch anything. I don't know if it's really for me. Kisara? I think I've seen enough.
Oh, sorry. I guess I'm just in my own little world when I go fishing.
Looks like we're going to be here for a while.
That's how fishing goes. You wait for a bite, and then the real battle begins.
Miguel told me that different fish live in different regions, and you have to pick the right rod and lure for what you're hoping to catch.
But that doesn't change the fact it's a giant time sink.
Of course, each fish has its own unique flavor, too. And some of them are supposed to be extremely delicious.
When you put it like that, maybe it's worth me trying my hand at fishing after all.
You're just in it for the food.
I was hoping we'd get to fish during our travels. And it just so happens I made sure to grab my brother's old rod before I left Vicente. So, if you ever feel like fishing when we've got a little downtime, just let me know.
Good to hear. Thanks for showing us. Okay!
I'm always amazed what healing arts can do.
Just doing my job. No need to thank me.
Hey. Is it just me? Or have those two barely spoken a single word to one another?
I know, right? But after everything that happened with Miguel, is it really any wonder?
Kinda puts a damper on the whole journey, though, huh? How long do you think they're gonna keep this up?
If it bothers you that much, why don't you ask them?
Why do I have to ask?
How come you walk together like that?
She really doesn't beat around the bush.
You mean Kisara and myself?
You hadn't noticed? You've been practically joined at the hip ever since we left Vicente.
I guess it's force of habit, most likely. I was always ready to protect him, should the need arise. It sort of came with the job description.
Right. From being in the Elder Menancia Guard. Although, Dohalim's pretty capable of defending himself, isn't he?
Having guards doesn't necessarily mean the one being guarded is weak. No one's perfect all the time.
Even so, it's not like they're entirely wrong, Kisara. You're no longer in my employ, after all.
I don't know. I mean, if it's what she's used to and you're both comfortable with it, then who are we to judge?
But she doesn't serve him anymore. It isn't normal for her to keep following him around like she still does.
You know, she's probably right. And a lot has changed over the last few days. I guess it wouldn't hurt to rethink our relationship in light of the new circumstances. Perhaps I'll give it some thought after all. Does that sound all right by you?
Of course.
You might want to stop asking his permission for every little thing while you're at it.
Sorry. It's not that easy, shaking off old habits. I'll probably need a little time to get fully used to it. Why are you looking at me like that?
That armor you wear is standard issue for the Menancian Guard, right?
Originally, I've added some flair to it in a lot of places.
I noticed, especially with that open back.
We guardsmen pride ourselves on never showing our back to our enemies. It's my way of making myself live up to that. Plus, it makes it that much lighter and easier to maintain.
Dohalim, do you have anything to say about this?
Every guardsman is allowed to wear their armor as they see fit.
And you, Law?
Huh? Why are you asking me?
I've noticed that sometimes we come across enemies who fight like you, and try to dodge our attacks at the last second.
I hate those guys. I can get some hits in when they move into attack, but otherwise they slip past damn near everything else I throw at them.
If what you're seeking is a way to more reliably hit them, there is a solution.
Try to outclass them on reflexes?
I possess the ability to command Earth elemental beings to some extent. They emerge as the land itself and take root on my command. They will swiftly bind the enemies, at which point you can dispatch them.
Huh?
What he means is that he can make plants grow to hold the enemies in place. At least I think that's probably what he's saying.
I'm glad at least one of us understands him. So basically, if we find an enemy that likes to dodge, we should let Dohalim handle it.
I shall do what I can within my modest means to help.
Thanks for waiting. Eat as much as you like.
Shion, could we talk a moment?
I think it's time we go to sleep. Come on, guys. We've got lots to do.
Dohalim's fighting style is... what's the word I'm looking for? Subdued? No...
Do you mean elegant, perhaps?
Yeah, that's the word. For better or worse, you can definitely tell he's cut from posh Renan cloth.
And he's not just skilled with the staff either. He can also use astral arts, including healing ones. I can see how he made it to the position of a lord.
You flatter me. But my fighting techniques merely come from a style that aims to conserve energy by minimizing body movement.
Is that why you wait until the last second before you dodge attacks? To avoid unnecessary movements?
No, I do that to sharpen my senses. I find that doing so is an effective means of drawing out my innermost strength.
Oh yeah, I've noticed you look stronger and strike out with your rod more after you dodge attacks. Guess that's why.
Still, it's a risk. Don't you ever worry you'll dodge at the wrong moment?
Then, it'll be just as well.
Huh?
It's nothing. Let us continue. Something feels odd here. Be on your guard.
I just noticed none of you other Dahnans have spirit cores. Why is that?
Both of my parents were part of the resistance in Calaglia. In fact, my birth was kept a secret from the Renans.
Mine too. We always lived in hiding, so I never had a spirit core embedded in me like I was supposed to.
What about you, Alphen? You were a slave in Calaglia before all this, weren't you?
To be completely honest, I'm not sure why I don't have one. All the other Dahnan slaves around me did. I was the only exception. They tended to keep their distance from me to avoid attracting any attention from the soldiers, because of my mask and all. What about you, Kisara? Do you still have your spirit core?
No. I was able to find a good Renan doctor who's sympathetic to our kind, and had them remove it before I left. They did such a great job, the procedure didn't even leave a scar.
One of the benefits of coexistence, huh?
I know that once the spirit vessel was shut down, there wasn't much need for me to hurry. But still, I didn't like having that mark of servitude lingering on me any longer than I had to. It may sound a little strange to hear me say this, but I'm just me now. Not a guardsman or a slave. I'm my own woman, and this is my chance to have a new beginning.
This sure is one rugged road. You'd think they'd keep this at least a little better maintained, right?
Why spend energy fixing that which is rarely used? Repairs require time and effort, which in our world means slaves, often in great numbers. For you, it may be a simple request, but that can quickly become another's difficult burden. Nobody gains anything without someone expending effort.
And you know, somehow that someone always ends up being a Dahnan, while the Renans are the ones who gain.
True enough. Ideally, in a perfect world, I think it's only fair that the ones who need it should be the ones to perform the work.
However, when doing so could be dangerous like it is here, there are many who would prefer that it be others who risk their lives in their stead.
So, what you're saying is that people will just put up with the inconvenience until someone else comes along to fix it for them?
Indeed. And it is those who can no longer bear that feeling that inevitably take action. Much like the Dahnans in our group do so now. As strange as it may be to hear such a thing from the likes of myself.
It's true that most of the Dahnans in Calaglia have been resigned to just accepting things as they are. Still, we can't just blame them for...
What are you making that face for? You're not worn out already, are you?
Nah, just regretting I ever said anything in the first place.
It'll take more than that to break my shield.
Dependable to the last.
Be still! Take this! Hurricane Thrust! Lunar Rondo! Rising Phoenix!
My specialty.
Look sharp. Negative gate.
Pesky airborne scoundrels.
Sounds like a job for you, truly.
Lightning Thrust! Strike! Tear!
Resonate with the earth.
Rising Stalking! It's over!
Now you see what I can do!
Megasonic Thrust!
Make it right.
Totally! In an instant! Impact Claw! We work well together.
Like a finely timed
You're
waltz.
finished! Hurricane Thrust! You're mine!
I'm ready!
It's over!
All yours, Kisara. Quite necessary when creating weaponry.
Don't get careless.
Be still!
Don't tell me!
Rising Falcon!
No further!
You're finished!
I'm not so good with airborne targets.
Take this! Megasonic Thrust!
Blind freaks! Why can't they just sit still?
Sia, can you take care of them?
No sooner said than done. Look sharp.
I'm ready!
This one's got your name on it.
Ashes to ashes!
We won that by a mile.
All right. There's nowhere to run from my heart.
When he slows down, that's our chance!
It's like trying to keep up with a wolf!
You require help. In a bind?
Annihilation!
Leave the ensnaring to me.
Yeah, and the pummeling to me!
That's it! Tiger Blade!
Take this!
You require
Megasonic thrust!
In a bind?
You're mine!
Tiger Blade!
It's over!
Elusive deity! Begin! A debut performance!
Burning strike! Water, hear my call!
Take this!
Take this!
Can't get out of this!
It's over! Try harder! My
Going in! One more!
Lightning thrust!
Tiger Blade!
It's over! Hurricane
Make it
thrust!
rain!
Swinwell! Light burst forth!
Radiant Genesis! Take it!
Now!
I'll prepare to be sealed!
It's over!
In a bind?
Mega Ray!
You're mine!
Make it rain!
Totally! In an instant! Impact Claw!
Got some interesting moves there, Dohalim. I'm glad you're on our side.
I'm simply glad to hear that I can make myself useful to you all. Huh?
What's wrong?
We seem to have come across some rather unusual objects.
What, you mean that pile of garbage?
No mere garbage, I assure you. Still, I've never seen anything shaped like it before. I'm intrigued.
Are you curious about this stuff, Rinwell?
Yeah. I think he might have found some old Dahnan relics. They look like the remains of a bunch of objects that disappeared after the Renans first invaded.
And yet here I am, holding them without so much as a second thought. I imagine the sight must be unsettling to you.
Not really, just that it must be nice to be a Renan who has time to indulge in stuff like that, unlike the rest of us.
Are you interested in this stuff too, Dohalim?
Charmed may be a better turn of phrase. I simply love objects that can give me a sense of what their maker was thinking, the history that went into their creation. You see, we Renans have hardly any such objects that trace back to our distant past.
I still don't understand what you two find so intriguing about it, though.
Why not? We're talking about our own culture here.
I get that, but it's not like this stuff is any use now, does it? It's just old. Real old.
Oh, but it does. Holding it in your hands like this, one can feel and engage with the distant past in a way no history book can ever accomplish.
I'll take your word for it. Well, seeing as it's Dahnan history, just make sure you're careful with it. All right, Dohalim?
But of course. That treasure.
peasy. Ha hoodle.
Visibility along this path will remain limited for some time. Take care not to get ambushed.
I'm surprised you know the terrain here so well. Lords don't strike me as having much time for wandering in the woods.
Sometimes I would take strolls along here when I wished to be alone.
You always did have a bad habit of disappearing without telling any of us guardsmen.
This one will be difficult to predict.
Shattering the pieces! Burn it!
It's a duel of the arts!
Swallow me with the Dazzle! We've got fire!
Prepare to be
I've
seized.
got this!
Like
Let
moths
marksman
to the
play!
flame. Sound is more
All yours!
appropriate.
Less talking, more doing!
The tide of battle has turned in our favor.
Then let's keep pressing the attack!
Indeed.
Do it!
But remain ever vigilant.
Blow them away!
Going bring you back from death to life! Tiger blade! Resuscitation! Flame of fury! Tiger blade!
No arts are being interrupted.
Dazzle! Hurricane thrust! Rising falcon!
Shot!
Eternal devastation!
I'll take you all on! Ha! Flare the Malisher!
Mega ray!
Take this!
Annihilation! Lightning!
Look sharp! Ha! I'm gone!
Blew away!
Not so fast.
Raining
Look
tonight!
sharp! Igneous discharge!
You picked the wrong fight!
Jamming! Flame
You're
of
mine!
fury!
Round
Round and
pick!
round! Water! Fire and cold! This one's got your name on it!
Ashes to ashes.
We can really make weapons with this?
Finally, some open space again.
You guys checked your equipment lately? I always love the sound of hammers. Banging away.